The Walking Dead. Los Muertos. Now, in this episode, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was actually really good. At least some aspects of this episode. Other aspects, I'm like, these characters are idiots. Now, getting into this episode, we see Nick in his new kind of colony. I love this new chick, this Mexican chick that really shows him. Well, she has him come with her to do a little errand, so to speak. So in the beginning, though, we see Nick and we see him, this little girl's crying. He's like, what's going on? And what's happening is they feed pretty much these walkers, the family members, friends, all that. They feed them pretty much the sick, the people who are about to die. They pretty much willingly sacrifice themselves because they know they're going to be gone. They're going to die. So we see this little girl's dad just like say, okay, it's time to go. We see that Mexican chick that's with Nick most of the time just say, give him a big hug. Very sad to see him sacrifice himself to the zombie horde. And then I knew it from when I saw her because she had blood on her face and stuff, and it looks like she does the same tactic as Nick, and she does put blood on herself. So I'm feeling a lot of whispers type material in Fear the Walking Dead, which is very interesting. I think that concept is pretty cool. I really like that. The one thing though, when I was watching this episode that I realized about Fear the Walking Dead is the fact that the reason why it's not as good is the fact that they go to town or they go to bars and stuff, and there really is, there should be zombies, especially now since this is the beginning of the apocalypse. There should be zombies everywhere. Wherever you go, there should be zombies in that damn hotel just walking around. I get that they're locked inside their rooms. Some of them are locked across the street in a grocery store, whatever. But you should see zombies just straight out walking around. This doesn't feel like a Romero kind of movie. This doesn't feel like those classic zombie movies. I think that's the problem with Fear the Walking Dead. Even The Walking Dead knows if you're going outside the colony or out anywhere, you're going to run into some zombies. So I think that's what Fear's lacking, is there should be more of them than ever since this is the start of the zombie apocalypse. But as we move on to the episode, I think that what really is strong about this episode is Nick and him going to get supplies with this Mexican chick. I can't remember the Mexican chick, so if you know the name, please put it down. But I really like her. I really think she's strong. She has her beliefs. She told Nick, shut the fuck up. Whatever you do, just shut the fuck up. I really feel like she's already a strong type character and that she could hold her own. She's a survivor, which I really like. I really like the fact that I love the idea when they have to exchange medicine in order to get supplies from this one group who has pretty much a market, and they have food, water, all that stuff, but they need medicine. So it's an exchange. It really took me back, reminiscing of the Walking Dead episode. Remember with the Vatos? I think the episode was called Vatos, and they took care of the elderly, the sick, but they had supplies, but they needed armory and stuff, so they kind of exchanged with Rick and his group. That's what I felt like in this episode, especially with Nick and her. I really like the fact that the baskets, they told them they can only fill as much as you can in the basket, just one of them when they agreed on two. I thought Nick was an idiot grabbing that freaking little dessert looking thing, but then Nick has a thing for he's a sweetheart when it comes to kids. He knows that he's been so troubled throughout his life, and that's what we learned from Madison throughout this episode is he's been lost when he was born. So just seeing these kids now losing family members in the zombie apocalypse, they're lost. That little girl is lost, and he feels like he needs to comfort them, and that's good and dandy. And I think you still do need that faith, that hope, and that loving and comforting, but you also need to be hard as nails, especially as you move forward, especially what the pharmacist was saying to him. But I'll get there in a minute. The weakness of this episode is the other characters. And I was surprised that Nick was even in this episode, but the other characters are weak in this episode. Madison and Strand. I thought them taking shot. First of all, I didn't believe they were drunk. It was them taking shot after shot. Madison telling her story. I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that wasn't bad. It's the same kind of gist that I think we already got it. But the fact that how stupid they were and how they couldn't see how much noise they were making and they didn't realize, like, you know, there's zombie, like, dude, Strand is playing on a piano and Madison's getting drunk. First of all, you know, oh, it was pure stupidity, and I was hoping they'd freaking die. Honestly, I hope these two characters go. I did like Strand, and I still do like Strand, but honestly, I could see him go as well. I could see them just having one of these of the members of this group survive, and the one that I see surviving is Nick, because they're really trying to focus Nick, and his story is the more interesting story out of all these characters. We had what's her name, Madison's daughter. Oh, what the fuck's her name? I had her name before. We had her daughter and Ophelia looking from room to room. They take a hot shower. I don't even know where Ophelia went. They find one of the walkers pretty much choking him. He choked him. He killed himself, basically. We see all these walkers just... I like the one scene where all the walkers were just like going off the freaking rails and just landing on straight to the ground. I thought that was a cool scene. But Madison's daughter is trapped. Alicia is trapped and she's trying to get out. There's nowhere to go. I don't know where Ophelia went. Where did Ophelia? She's alive because I saw the next episode, the preview, and you see her right next to Alicia. So I was thinking that, you know, maybe she killed herself because she was saying that there is really no hope. It makes me sad to know that Daniel is gone for good. I mean, I really like Daniel as a character. I think because he was amazing. He actually was smart. You know, I think he would have told Strand, shut the fuck up. You're going to get all of us killed. So the ending, I thought it was great to see Nick come back. You know, that chick is feeling him. I'm telling you, that's a romance right there. That's romance happening. She's feeling him. She saw that Nick does have a heart. He got it for that little girl. The pharmacist is just, he has everybody believing what he wants them to believe. Honestly, the will to, I mean, he's not necessarily wrong. He's kind of comes off really crazy, but he's not necessarily wrong. When I heard that he was bitten before and he still survived, when the Mexican chick was telling this story, I was like, well, this harkens back to Herschel. Herschel was bitten before and he survived. So seeing that bite mark on his shoulder and a little chunk of it gone, I really do feel like he just cut that shit off and the virus didn't spread. I think that's how he survived. I feel like the pharmacist is definitely going to get eaten when his demise comes. He's definitely going to get surrounded by walkers and just get ripped to shreds. That's his death. I'm going to call that. But overall, I thought this episode was actually pretty good. It was interesting when it came to Nick. It wasn't as interesting when the other characters were introduced, but it was kind of funny how they had Nick in this episode. I didn't think I was going to see Nick in this episode. I thought I was going to see more Travis and Chris, but I didn't. That's the next episode. But overall, I think Nick's situation's a little bit more interesting, and just the fact that this is a cult at this point. And then where Madison and Strand is, I don't really give a shit. I hope they actually die. Alicia, I don't give a shit. I don't care if she dies. And Ophelia, I don't care. Like, these characters, they still don't warrant anything for me to capture my interest. But I can't believe Nick is really capturing my interest with this, especially with all them. And just the way the Mexican chick was talking about how smart she was, saying, like, they could be following us because that little stunt you pulled when they almost killed Nick for that little dessert, that little Mexican treat. So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Would really appreciate it. Like the video if you like it. Comment below. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. This is Fear the Walking Dead. And I will see you guys next time. All hail Negan.